Oh,
Hello, hello.
it says live. Does that mean we're live
How long we been doing this?
or live on tape,
How
live
long
on
we been doing
video?
this? I would like to hope it means we're live,
Okay.
but we'll find out as soon as we start seeing you folks pop up.
I apologize right now for my coughing and clearing my throat. I've been on antibiotics all week and it is getting better.
It is getting better.
Uh, that's the optimistic outlook.
It is getting better. Yeah, I finally almost stopped coughing, which is very exciting. That doesn't sound very nice.
No, it doesn't. And the other night in my class,
Oh yeah, you're muting the
I
mic.
keep trying to mute the mic. It's easy,
Yeah.
at a radio at an old-fashioned radio console. There's a cough button.
Yeah.
All you have to do is push it, and
You push it, and
and it
then they don't have
works.
to hear you cough.
That's right.
Nick Kramer, you're in Hawaii. Lucky duck.
Yeah.
Lucky duck. How lovely.
We
Yeah,
saw a bumper sticker one of our first trips there that said, "The worst day in the islands is better than the best day on the mainland."
I'll go with that.
Yep. We love Hawaii.
I'll go with that. It's been so long,
Yeah.
too.
We're still heartsick about Maui
Well,
and,
yeah.
and Lahaina in Maui.
It's such a crazy thing, sort of the different pieces of your life as you get older. We used to spend a pretty significant amount of time in Hawaii
Yeah.
when I was growing up. And we have not been back in what feels like a very long time. I haven't been there since I was a teenager.
I've just been lectured to sit up straight. I thought I was sitting up
See,
straight.
Jerry says sit up straight. I am up straight. This is as straight as I get. But yes, you did. See, they help. They help to remind you that you need to sit up. But yeah, we used to spend a lot of time there, and I loved it. And it is quite funny just to think of how long it's been since we have.
Yeah.
Just because, yeah, different parts of your life, different times in your life. Scott realized, my husband realized. I said, "How long has it been since you were back in the UK?" It's before the pandemic, so he hasn't been back home in what must be 5 years,
Well,
something like that.
coming up on 4 years.
Yeah,
In March, it'll be 4 years.
yeah, yeah.
How
while.
is that possible?
A while.
4 years.
I don't know. I don't know nothing about nothing. It's
What's been
crazy.
going on?
It's crazy how fast it all seems to go.
Yes.
I will say hello, everybody. I'm sorry that we were not here last week. We were surrounded by really famous people in a surreal experience.
We were hobnobbing.
We were hobbing and knobbing.
Both.
Oprah touched me. I need you to know that it was consensual. It was one of the. She's one of the only people that I knew if I saw her, I'd probably act like a crazy person. Because it's Oprah. It's not even that. It's not even just like, oh, she's this. Oprah's probably one of the most famous human beings on the face of the planet. I think I can say that confidently.
That's no exaggeration.
And I was just like, holy actual hell. So, sorry, I'm still getting over it too. Dying. So what happened is where we were sitting. So it takes place. We're at the Critics' Choice Awards last Sunday.
At the Barker Hangar out of Santa Monica Airport.
Which is literally an airplane hangar that they make look very fancy. And
there are only two exits and entrances. There's two.
Yeah.
There's two kind of aisleways.
Yeah.
That take you into this enormous space.
So if you happen to be in the way of either of those, it's a great spot.
And we were in a great table, right alongside the walkway.
We were the corner. So here's the wall, here's the stage, us, corner. So everybody had to walk by us. My dad, who I love, terrible at paying attention to any of this. So I'm like, Leonardo DiCaprio, whack. And he goes, who? I was like, oh, you're fired. You're so fired. But so I'm standing against the wall. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Ken. Ken here saying he enjoyed. I posted a lot of videos and pictures from there because it was just nuts. I'm standing against this wall, and my friend is walking towards me. My friend Harvey is on the show What We Do in the Shadows.
Yep.
And he's doing really well, which is wonderful.
He works a lot now.
He works a ton. So I was just excited to see him, gave him a big hug. And then right behind him is Oprah. So he walks by and Oprah's there. And I just went like, and I felt myself do it. And then she looked at me and she goes, "Hi." And I just went, and she looks at me and she goes, "Yourself." And I was like, and no words came out. And then she just touched my arm and kept walking. And I was just sort of like, and I immediately went to our friend Gray and I said, "Gray, Oprah just touched me, Gray. I don't know what to do." And then where we were sitting, so we were lucky to be sitting at the holdovers table with Alexander Payne and Davine Joy Randolph. And then next to us was the other holdovers table, and that's where Paul Giamatti and Dominic Sessa were. So we're standing there. So we're sitting there, and as I say, everybody's kind of around.
That was courtesy of Focus Features.
Yes.
Very, very nice of them.
Big thank you to Focus Features for letting us sit there. So in front of me this way at the next table is Robert De Niro, who the only way I can really describe all of his expressions is annoyed grandpa at a graduation. It's the best way I can describe. The entire time he's sitting like this. I don't think he wasn't enjoying himself. I think that's just his face. But it's all I could see. And then to the right, sort of diagonal for me, is Oprah. And then at the very next table is Reese Witherspoon and Jennifer Aniston. And so every time I turned my head, I was kind of going, and it's extremely surreal, and is not a thing that happens with any regularity.
Meeting any one of these people would be at least interesting.
Yeah.
And at best rewarding.
Yeah.
But being in the midst of a whole bunch of these people at once, is a bit overwhelming.
It's very strange. No, Ted, I am not famous. Not even a little bit famous. My dad, I'm gonna say, I like to call him nerd famous. If you are someone who loves films, then you probably know who he is, or again, in my opinion, should know who he is, because he's pretty great. But no, I am no one. So I'm saying to my dad, like, let's say hello, let's be friendly. We talked to James Marsden, who is just so pretty, it's like insulting. That's the thing. When I was looking at all of these people, I just sort of kept going, you're too pretty. It's distracting to look at.
And he was there with the creator of Jury Duty.
Yeah.
For which he was nominated.
Yeah. Thank you. Jerry says, "Jesse, you're famous in our hearts." I appreciate that, Jerry. Oh God, no, it just everywhere you looked, as I say, Arthur, completely starstruck. Yes, I'm always starstruck because to me, there's no, it's not normal. This is not normal. I'm trying to, so we went over, we saw Greta Gerwig.
That was my third event of the weekend.
Fourth
event of the weekend.
Event of the weekend.
Friday, the AFI luncheon, which covers the 10 best films of the year and 10 best TV shows of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And each of them have a table of 10 at the Four Seasons Ballroom. And so who's who? Oh, yes. The first thing that happened there was I was excited to see and meet Ayo Edebiri, who I love on the TV series The Bear.
Mm-hmm.
And I enjoy seeing her in Bottoms. She co-starred in Bottoms and Theater Camp. She's working a lot and she's doing good stuff. Well, it seems she was as excited to meet me as I was to meet her, which she posted on Instagram. Go figure.
She posted on Instagram, "I met Maltin," and so all my friends were sending me screenshots of it. So we got you and Mommy dressed for AFI.
Yeah.
And off you go, and I sit at home waiting for photos and stories. That is my job, is to sit at home waiting to hear how it all went. And
it was followed immediately in an adjacent room by TCM's Turner Classic Movies 30th birthday party.
Mm-hmm.
So all five of the hosts were there, and assorted and sundry other interesting and good people.
Yeah, including two of the most famous human beings.
You're referring
Steven
to
Spielberg
right?
and rhymes with Martin Scorsese. Martin Scorsese. Among many others, because this is the reason that they had this when they had it is because everyone is there.
Yeah, they fed off of her, or
they're not stupid.
Yeah,
They're
caught the tail end.
Yeah, it's like us being seated in that corner. You put a party right after AFI, everyone's there. Hi, Jamie. Everyone is there. So it was just it. Yeah, you
Great,
guys.
Great schmoozing. And
my mother was sitting at one point near Jeremy Allen White, who has also gained more fame from The Bear. He's the lead in The Bear.
Right behind the Bear table.
And my mother says to me, I met that nice young man, Jeremy something. I said, yeah. She said, I asked him if he likes to cook. I said, uh-huh. And he, bless him, he answered Alice's questions.
No. I think in honesty, she said, did you have to learn how to cook to play the role?
But she asked him if he liked to cook because they talked about that.
Okay.
He said he does like to cook and he's cooking more. Yes, the guy in the underwear, Victoria, right? I don't know if you saw this clip, but after Jeremy Allen White won at the Golden Globes and he went backstage to do the press room, P.S. If you don't know, when somebody wins an award and they disappear, they're disappearing to go into two rooms. One is photo call, and that's in front of a big step and repeat, and everybody snaps their photos. And the next is the press room, where depending on the person, they will either take a handful of questions or they will ask for questions to be submitted.
Are we out of sync? If we're out of sync, it's not our fault.
I've given up. I've given up. Talked to every customer service representative and I've given up. Anyway, so that's the reason why you see those famous people disappear, is they don't just get the award and go sit back down. They get the award and then they get taken away. And that's where seat fillers come in, because what you can't have is an empty seat on camera. So somebody wins and suddenly you see some very pretty girl or guy suddenly sitting there just like
well dressed.
Very have to be well dressed because they have to fit in. But yeah. So during the Golden Globe Q&A, this woman says to him, "Hi, do you think that this award is more important than what you than getting the Calvin Klein billboard?" And all you can think with someone, he goes, "No, this is better." Like, bless him. This is better.
There's no such thing as a good press conference. That's an oxymoron.
It's just not. Josh is asking, as an Oscar voter and Origin fan, is Leonard invited into the Frances Fisher inner circle? Girl, I wish. You know, that's the running joke, is that Frances Fisher is now the key to figuring out who everyone is going to vote for, because last year she got in all that trouble for screenings.
I just want to say to Jenny and Larry, who say we are in sync, we are talking with our mouths. This is a talking picture. Thank you. Thank you, Betty Comden and Adolph Green, for writing that script and singing in the rain. Okay.
Exactly. Yes, Ryan, everybody says that Jeremy Allen White looks like Gene Wilder's son or grandson. He really does. Have you seen the side-by-sides?
No.
It's nuts. They look very similar. Anyway, so you had AFI and then you had
TCM.
the TCM 30th.
And then Saturday night was the LA Film Critics Association Awards dinner, where I got to present Best Supporting Performance to Devon Joy Randolph of The Holdovers. And that was a very pleasant task. And I wrote an essay for the program book about her. And not much more to say.
Well, yeah, LAFCA is always a really nice. The LA Film Critics event is always a nice. It's always nice because the only people attending have one, so there's no pressure,
Right.
no stress. Anyone who's going to be speaking knows they're going to be speaking.
Right.
So there too, there's no sort of, oh God, am I going to have to get on stage? No, you know ahead of time what you're going to do.
And
And there's no cameras.
Emma Stone was there to accept Best Leading Performance.
Yep.
We've gone genderless at LAFCA. That was a vote that the majority carried. I was not in that majority. Anyway, we wound up giving 4 females.
Well, yeah, we've talked about this.
Yeah.
Thankfully, you're still doing 2 of each.
Yes.
Again, my issue is that the Spirit Awards, the Film Independent Spirit Awards, have done this genderless thing, but then they only have 1 winner for the best and for supporting. And to me, that just, I think you should have 2. And if it's 2 women and 2 men, or 1 woman, 1 man, or someone who identifies, non-binary, whatever it is, I think it should be 2. You should have 2 best leading performances and 2 best supporting. Because the other week when we were with you, we spoke about how really where awards are important to the rest of the world is getting the word out.
Promoting these good movies that and oftentimes are not box office bonanzas.
Yeah. So
to put it mildly.
Yeah. So to me, removing another winner means 1 less sort of way to celebrate a film, especially a group of films that are not going to be seen the same way a major blockbuster might be.
Right. We need, because people ought to see American Fiction. People ought to see Origin, Ava DuVernay's incredible film, Origin. I can't urge you enough. It's still in the process of making its way through theaters and VOD. American Fiction, of course, The Holdovers.
How many of you
now
have
available
seen
everywhere?
How many of you have seen The Holdovers now? I finally got to watch it because I knew we were going to be sitting with Alexander and everybody, and so I was just determined.
And by the way, there was a cutaway on the broadcast of you talking to Alexander.
I was sitting next to Alexander for a little bit, and we're behind. There's a shot of Chelsea Handler in front of Reese Witherspoon and Jennifer Aniston, and behind that is me and Alexander Payne. And again, my friends love it because I'm so easy to spot. So very funny. Good. I'm so glad that a number of you have seen The Holdovers. I finally got to watch it, and I just think it is. What I said to Alexander is I knew I was going to like it because I like his sensibility. There's some directors where you sort of just know that whatever they come out with, whether you love it or not, whatever, but it will still at least be worth your time.
Right.
And I just said to him, this was just, to me, about as perfect as a movie gets.
It's a beautiful film. It's a beautiful film that resonates and holds up. I saw it a second time with my class, and it felt deeper and richer to me the second viewing.
I just think it's fantastic. I think it's just so well done, and so many good performances, written really beautifully. We were also sitting with the writer, and I got to talk to him a little bit. And he's nominated for a Spirit Award.
Yes.
A few people are nominated for Holdovers. I absolutely loved it. And I really want people to see it because I think it's a beautiful, beautiful movie. Good. So Colin says, seen it twice in theaters, once alone and once with my mom. I'm so glad that you did.
Nice.
That's wonderful.
That's nice.
Chris is saying, why is Origin only now going into wide release after Oscar voting started? So we've talked about this a little bit, but part of the issue is that for a film to be in consideration, it only has to play 1 week in one of the major cities, which is to say generally New York, LA, Chicago. These 3 places are usually where you have to play, and you only have to play for a week. And you don't even really have to tell anybody. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But that's what Origin did. That's what Ferrari did. There's a handful of films
So
that
they're really 2024
yeah,
releases.
they're really for next year, but they show them so anybody who is voting because it's a contender can vote for it, but the rest of the world will not really see it until either after the Oscars or in the case of I think American Fiction's like open now
Yeah.
or right around now. And so it's very strange. I know at the end of the day, what it all comes down to, as everything does, is money and business.
Well,
And obviously, a studio is only going to release so many films at any given time.
right.
But it does always feel like a waste. Uh,
Well, they're betting. It's a
yeah,
gamble.
yeah,
It's a calculated risk. That if you can get the good reviews
mm-hmm,
and good word of mouth,
yeah,
and maybe make some sort of splash, the splash culminating in an Oscar nomination,
yeah,
then it was worth it to try. But your audience still can't come to see your movie.
yeah.
So it's a tough call.
I think it's foolish, and as I say, I think it just comes down to the studio deciding who they want to put their time into.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, otherwise, why would you waste it? Why do you think the Academy is considering Barbie for adapted screenplay and not original screenplay? I guess it's based on something. I
No,
don't know.
it's based on a doll.
Mm.
Uh,
There's some stuff that's just kind of random.
just as at the Golden Globes and the CCA,
Mhm.
to which I belong,
Yep.
uh, they split things into comedy and drama that are often now the words become accepted. Dramedy.
Yeah.
I said to Alexander, I thought your film was a lot funnier than whatever won in its
Well,
category.
but it was also like, again, if you've seen The Holdovers, it's not a comedy.
It's not.
It's a serious film that is funny. There are things in it that are funny, but I don't think of it as a comedy. And I think that if you're selling it as a comedy, it's foolish.
They've done it before. I remember Lost in
Oh, please,
Translation.
they've done it so many times. This
Yeah.
is not the first by a long shot. Yes, we do still get physical screeners. No, Justin, we still do. Somebody's asking.
Despite the denial,
Yeah, we do, and
nobody sends screeners anymore, except the ones who do.
except that they do. Yeah, we don't get
as many,
but as many still means we have like 20 or 30 of them.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to 100 of them, which some years we could have that many or more, because people are trying to get in at any, again, when you get a screener on the box, it will say, please consider us for blank, 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 blank. It'll say, consider us for score, consider us for this, for that, the other thing. Some movies know that they might be able to get for makeup.
Right.
Or for hair, or for costume, or special effects. So a movie that otherwise may not have gotten as much attention,
Yeah.
even like the Marvel films in some cases can get nominated for those.
Yeah. Well, it's only because I had a screener from Neon.
Yeah.
That I got to see the Spanish French animated film.
Yeah.
Robot Dreams, which is opening, I think, in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Theatrically.
Yeah.
And then make a pretty hasty detour to video on demand.
But
it's a lovely film, and it's really worth seeing. Very ingenious film with a heavy dose of whimsy.
Yeah.
And worth seeing. So much animation this year.
Yeah, a lot.
So many animated features.
A lot. But so that's the thing is I would rather have a physical screener any day because generally they work. 99% of the time something goes wrong.
Too often.
It just happens too much. And my parents have had it a lot, even during the year.
Yeah.
Even during the year, if they get, hey, can you watch this documentary? Can you watch this, that, the other thing? Mm-hmm. I was out of the house the other day. How dare I leave? And you guys were trying to watch something and you couldn't get it to work at all. And you were emailing with customer service. And finally, what we ended up doing was I could get it to work on their phone. and I streamed the movie from their phone to their TV. That's how we got it to work.
Duh.
And, but it's like, but not everybody has somebody in the house who can figure that stuff. I mean, I'm no genius by any stretch, but I know more than they do when it comes to trying to get the technology to work.
Well, there's a good explanation about the adaptation credit on Barbie.
Joe is saying Barbie has a rich history and many, many tomes, plus a Mattel archive, all of which Gerwig and Baumbach sourced, adapted. Yes.
Okay.
Well, that's why I say it's Barbie.
Yeah.
It's not based on something you came up with. It is based on a thing that exists. So that's sort of where that comes from. When you get physical screeners, do they show the 1-800 number to report any pirating?
Of course they do.
So what happens a lot is on your screen while you're watching whatever it is. Yeah, I know. It's AirPlay. I know.
Your name comes up.
And so you'll have like your name, and depending on what the screener is and how serious they are, sometimes you'll have your name in 5 places. And you're trying to watch this, and I get why they have to do it.
It's been watermarked for you.
I get why they have to do it, but at times you're just like, I can't look past my name in 15 places on this screen. So yeah, there was a terrible, terrible movie called Hesher that starred Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Just awful. And I got a screener of that. And what they did was they flashed your name in the 4 corners the entire time. This movie was bad anyway, but then this is happening for 2 hours of my name in 4 corners. And I just thought, so did you know the movie's bad and you're hoping I'll be distracted by what you're doing here? Or yeah, they are personally watermarked, which is very funny. Yeah, there you go. Great way to get your name in the movies. Exactly. What is it with screeners where your email or name is put in the middle of the screen? Who wants to watch a screener that way? No, that's what I mean. They have to find some way
to
keep
compromise.
The pirating out.
That's the compromise point, because no one would want to pirate that. I mean, no sane person. Or I'm sure there are people who are desperate enough that they would watch a movie that way. But
do you remember what Mercy said with okay, so I call her my aunt. I was telling her, this is years ago. I was telling her that I was really excited to start getting the screeners coming in because I had missed a couple of movies and I was looking forward to that. And Mercy says, "Oh, I bought that movie the other day." And I said, "What do you mean you bought that movie?" She goes, "At Target." I said, "At Target?" She said, "Yeah, you can get it at Target. They have a bunch of different ones, all the new movies." I was like, "What are you talking about?" What she meant was that there were people outside of Target selling bootlegs. And then she was very clear. She said, "But you have to make sure you tell them no heads. You don't want any heads in the street because it's very distracting." And I just thought it's the funniest thing. And I said to her, "Merce, you can't buy those. No. What if they find out?" It's ridiculous.
Peter Siegel, who directed several Adam Sandler movies some years ago, came to my class. He also taught for a while at SC.
Yeah.
A good guy. Told us the story that they were testing one of 50 First Dates or one of those movies. And so they decided, instead of just running an audio track to listen to the audience applause, the audience reaction, they would put a video camera in the very front of the house aimed back at the audience and see the audience responding. So they're watching it in real time up in the projection booth, which they used to have a projection booth. They're watching it and they see there's a guy with a video camera pirating the movie. So they, blow some whistles and some security guys running. And when this guy realizes that he's about to be caught, he ejects the cassette, throws it to a friend, and runs away. And they never caught him. You can't make that stuff up.
1 second. I never get to catch you live. You did a series on Donald Duck years ago. I grew up watching it over and over again through a rough childhood. It's why I love old cartoons. I really appreciate you.
Well, thank you. That's very kind.
That's so nice.
I hope your life has settled into a more comfortable place and that Donald is still part of it.
I I've said this before, but I really love that my daughter is obsessed with the Fab Five, with Donald and Mickey and Pluto and
Hmm.
Goofy and and Minnie and Daisy and all of it. I love that she enjoys it so much because it's just crazy
No,
to think.
we don't have to force her to watch.
No, she wants it. She loves it. And it just brings me such joy. And it really is amazing. I mean, similar to Sesame Street, she loves Elmo, and when the other characters pop up, I don't think nobody ever knows what's going to have longevity. You just don't. You
No.
can't. Um, and it is wild to see her reacting to stuff that, you know, is 20, 30, 40 years old, depending on what she's watching.
Or
It's
more.
just, yeah, it's incredible to me. It's absolutely incredible. I also finally got to watch Barbie. Now, you saw it a while ago.
Yep.
Can I ask you guys, did you like Barbie? If you saw it, did you like it? I finally got to see it. And all I could think, as I said to you, is it to me, which makes perfect sense because it's a Greta Gerwig, Noah Baumbach movie. It felt like a small, weird indie movie. That's what it felt like. It felt like a small, weird indie movie. Absolutely ridiculous. Something that, I really can't believe that it's popular the way that it's popular. Because to me, it reminded me in some ways, obviously, of Lars and the Real Girl, in some ways of Swiss Army Man. Like it's such a weird little movie, and I cannot believe that it's gotten the response it's gotten. I liked it. I didn't think it was great, but I liked it.
It's not a film, it's
Uh,
a phenomenon. Only way to
it's
describe it, it is a phenomenon.
bonkers. It's bonkers. Victoria said it's just a phenomenon, same time as you. No,
Yeah.
it is.
And we had a lovely chat with Greta
Oh, I love.
during
Yeah,
the CCAs.
Greta Gerwig is really, really lovely, and we've known her now for a while. We're not friends, but we've seen each other a lot over the years. And I don't know how she has a 4-year-old and an 11-month-old, and I just said to her, how? Um, but yeah, it's so nice to see her. I also saw Ryan Gosling up close, and I don't think he's real. Like I know you wouldn't. He doesn't. He looks like a Ken doll. Like his skin is it's perfect. And I'm not a Ryan Gosling obsessed person, but I just was looking at him going, you actually do look like plastic. It was nuts. Yeah, couldn't really get over that. Now, Nick, why don't you feel like it felt like an indie? Do you know what I mean in the sense that it's that, as I say, if I describe the plot of this movie to you
No.
and then show you Will Ferrell leading a group like, this is not a big blockbuster, typically, I should say. Just bonkers. Just bonkers. I don't know. But you say you and mommy liked it, but you didn't
Yeah, I mean,
love it.
I liked it. I thought it was clever.
Yeah. Yeah. Very
But
strange.
it didn't do much for me, and I didn't care about Ken at
Yeah.
all.
No, I didn't get that at all. I don't get it. I don't get it.
But I don't. I'm not trying to throw mud at it.
No, that's the thing. I thought it was
I've
all
I've
fine.
nothing against it. I'm glad that I'm always happy to see something succeed
Yeah.
on merit.
Yeah. No,
People enjoyed it.
People enjoyed it. It is. I knew part of why I held off was that obviously whenever something becomes super super popular, you're going to have it in your head as being, oh well, people love this. This is amazing.
Mhm.
Even it gets to this. If you haven't seen the movie, something that is become quite a big deal is America Ferrera has this speech that
Right.
she gives. She got to the speech, and again, I sort of went, yeah, that was a thing that happened. So, I'm not judging it harshly because you just can't. But I also have no idea how it got this successful. Sometimes things just happen.
Yep.
Think about something like Napoleon Dynamite. You know, think about some of these films. Every year, there's at least
There's at
one
least, yeah,
indie
sleeper.
that sneaks, and you just go, "What in the hell? How did It's yeah. Robbie had a couple cute scenes, but it didn't feel like it had a strong plot. Well, I mean, it didn't.
Well, it didn't.
Didn't have a strong plot. The reason it felt like that is because it didn't. Yeah, I'll go with that. Nick is saying I don't know. It felt more like Hairspray. I'll go with that. But Hairspray is very indie, weird. You know.
But the garish colors
Mhm.
and
Oh yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you absolutely.
my favorite moment is with Anne Roth.
Of course, yeah. That's a great moment.
She's one of the world's preeminent costume designers
Yep.
and has been for decades. And she is the elderly woman that Barbie meets.
Speaks to on at a bus stop.
Mm-hmm.
What do you expect from a live action film based on a toy? Well, that's what I mean. I expected nothing. And that's why it blows me away that people have had the reaction that they've had. But this is the thing is, we don't ever know what's going to get people. And part of it, as we also know, can just be timing. You know, things can just be timing.
Oh, sure. Certain shows that debuted during the pandemic.
Well, oh yeah, we talked about this a lot.
You know, might not have succeeded otherwise.
They wouldn't. I mean, again, the Queen's Gambit. We interviewed the director of the film.
Writer-director.
I say film, the show. And, you know, we're saying to him, and he agreed. I mean, it was a great show. It really was a great show. But most people would have seen, oh, this is about a chess, you can't say idiot savant anymore. What's the word?
Savant.
Sure. No idiot, just savant. But, if I describe to you what that show is about and who's in it, most people would go, eh. But we were all sitting at home and we needed entertainment. And so I love that it did well. I think it's great that it did well. But it's a fluke in that way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's kind of, they say, just sort of blows me away.
I think the same about the Mike White's show, the
White Lotus. I think the first season was one of the worst things I've ever watched, and then after that, I liked it. I like season 2 much more because I deeply hated season 1. I watched all of it. I just thought it was terrible. Why do you want to be with those people? That's what you said watching it.
Yeah.
We had the same. Why would I don't want to be with these people?
Why would I want to spend time with these?
These are miserable people. I don't want to hang out with them. No, again, it all depends. It also depends on what we're looking for. And what Barbie offered for a lot of people was escapism and dressing up, going to the theater and dressing up with your friends and having it be an event, having it be an actual event. And for that, completely worth it. It's wonderful.
I didn't know that Monsieur Spade was Scott Frank's show. Well, now I'm interested.
As
big fan of Scott Frank's work.
Yeah. I've got Kathy says, how do you make Hawaii look ugly? Yes, not a fan of season 1. Well, that's, as I said, I mean, the only thing my mom's only positive for the show was at least we got to look at Hawaii a little bit. No. Water.
Sorry,
do you have the water? That
I do.
Drink some water.
Oh, so speaking of sleepers, this is several years old, but my class has started again, the new semester at USC, and my intrepid film booker and administrator, Alex Ago, said that we were going to have as a guest this past week, for our second session, Paolo Choining Dorji. And I'm reading that because I want to say it properly, who is from Bhutan, the nation of Bhutan, which is so obscure that when he submitted his first feature, the Academy didn't have a listing for Bhutan or for the language, the Bhutanese language.
Yeah.
He sort of broke the app or whatever it is you'll call it. Anyway, he has a new film about to open called The Monk and the Gun. I believe it is shortlisted. I'm not sure of that, but His earlier film called Lunana, A Yak in the Classroom, is available on Netflix. Watch it. Nothing else to say, but watch it. I think you will be charmed and disarmed both.
Hmm.
It's a wonderful film. Uh, by any measure a wonderful film, and the new one is almost as good.
Yeah. No, you both really enjoyed it. Both my dad and my mom really enjoyed it. And I always say, to me, that is an excellent. We always say you and I actually agree pretty often. You and my mom very rarely agree. Most of the time, you guys are on different ends of something. But I will also say that my mom, as she will tell you, her patience for films in general is pretty low at this point. And if she is not enjoying herself, she's at a place where she says, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to watch this. And I say, you know, Mama, life's too short. It's true. Turn it off.
We also watched a film that is shortlisted for Best Live Action Short Subject, and it's called The Last Repair Shop.
Are you writing down everything that you guys are watching?
I'm trying to.
I'm asking.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys have crammed so much in the last month.
I know. No, I'm trying to keep up with notes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. The Last Repair Shop has just gone on YouTube, so you can watch it in its entirety for free. It was produced officially by the LA Times, just as the New York Times is backing a series of shorts, and the New Yorker magazine is backing a series of shorts. So this is good. This is all healthy.
Yeah.
The Last Repair Shop left me very emotional. I don't want to tell you too much about it.
Because you miss repair shops. I know. Just kidding.
It's about the people, the individuals who make a career out of repairing instruments that are distributed to school children in the LA Unified School District. We are one of the very few cities of any size that still provides instruments for children.
Yeah. Sorry.
And that's all I will say.
Yeah.
And it was made by Ben Proudfoot and Chris Bowers. And we have rooting interest for Chris Bowers because we met him early in his career. And very talented guy who we'll be hearing about for years to come.
So exciting. Sean is saying, can us non-students sit in on your USC class? We promise to behave. You know, a lot of it's very funny, but a lot of people do try to sit in. You have a big class this year.
This year, it's full. Very full.
But, you know, it's a wonderful class. And I think a really big part of why the kids like it so much is that it's not at them. So it's not this sort of sit down while I teach you stuff. My dad always says that his goal is to make a smarter viewer, a more educated movie goer. And I think that is what they get.
By showing them films that they might not choose to see on their own.
Yep.
Documentaries, foreign language films, indie films, as well as blockbusters.
Yeah.
And by meeting the people who make the film. Sometimes the director, the writer, the producer, costume designer, production designer, composer. We cover a pretty wide spectrum, you know, based on who's available and, you know, and all of that.
But, you know, a lot of kids have never heard a film editor speak before. A lot of kids have never heard a sound designer speak before. And I mean, a lot of people in general haven't heard folks like that, what they call below the line.
Yeah.
And the truth is, you know, they really fill things out in such a phenomenal way. Obviously, you can't have a movie without it. And listening to them and them talking about sort of the detail that goes in. I always say I'll never understand room tone. I get it, but I don't get it. That's one of those things that has always fascinated me. And who figured it out? When you are recording something, and this is true even if my dad is filming, if he's being interviewed for something, you have obviously your microphone on and you are recorded that way, but something that the sound the sound guy has to do is something called room tone. And basically, they make everyone go quiet and they record the tone of the room. And then that goes in as sort of a baseline
Yep.
to the rest of the interview. And if you don't have that, it can sound hollow.
Yeah,
It can sound
it
weird.
sounds strange, disconnected.
But it's something it's not something anybody, again, if you don't know, you wouldn't know. Why would you know? But I'm always amazed at that and how it works. Greetings, Jesse and Leonard. Happy Sunday. I hope all is well with the Maltins. Thank you, Lynn. It's nice to see you. Yeah, I'll tell you the other thing that's kind of throwing me at the moment. So Sundance is on, and my mom read an article and sent it to me, and I've now just seen it for myself as well with all the posts. They invited a ton of TikTokers to Sundance. And in general, they invited a number of what's it called? Influencers,
right,
from various platforms. And I'm so confused. The people that they brought, some of them they specialize in film, like that Reese guy, I'm sure is there because of course he is. But then there's just a bunch of completely random TikTokers and Instagram folks. And I'm seeing them post stuff, and they're posting about their outfits that they're wearing, which again is all fine. It's all fine to do that. I just don't understand what it has to do with film. And I'm seeing, a lot of our friends are at Sundance, as they are every year. We're not there this year, which I wish we were, but such is life. But it's just like I'm not seeing anything like, hey, here are the movies I'm seeing, and I'm a TikToker. I'm seeing like, look at these photos I took. I don't understand. I don't get it. I just don't. I mean, really, Josh, someone that I went to school with is an influencer. A girl that I grew up with is an influencer, primarily fashion, but also she gets invited to all the premieres because why not? And she is at Sundance and posted a video getting dressed and having her hair done, and then taking pictures in front of a screen. Happy Film Festival. I just don't understand. I don't get it, guys. I just
Living in Oblivion. That was a very funny, caustically funny movie about the making of a low budget movie. If you've never seen it, worth a look.
I'm very confused by this. I am very confused by this. Exactly, CJ, crazy. Yeah, I don't get it. I am all for people getting attention whatever way they can. And again, Sundance is indie, it's all of that.
Yeah.
But I am confused at times by who they're putting their time into. I don't understand.
All that's going to be blown out of the water Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
At 5:30 a.m. West Coast time, when Zazie Beetz.
Is it Zazie Beetz?
Zazie Beetz.
Is that who it is?
Yeah.
And then isn't Quaid? Jack Quaid?
Yeah, Jack Quaid.
Jack Quaid.
Are going to announce this year's Oscar nominees.
Yep.
Or at least the handful of the leading Oscar nominees.
Yeah.
And then to be followed immediately by a press release from the Academy.
Yep.
Revealing all of the Oscar nominees.
Yeah, I am very, it's always interesting. And we used to go, then they stopped doing it in person, and now they're bringing it up. Now I guess they brought it back. Last year was the first year that they had it in person again. I want to go. Someone's not sure they want to get up that early, which I respect. But I do love going, and I love being there because it's just so interesting. They do it at the Academy office, which is also a theater.
No, the Samuel Goldwyn Theater.
Yeah.
They're beautiful theater.
Yeah, and it's just kind of wild. The room is full of publicists and
press from around the world.
And so sort of sitting there and listening to, first you have the whooping, which I'm a big fan of. So they announce whatever they announce, and it's like, foreign film from Bhutan or whatever it is. And somebody goes, yeah, and you go, okay, they're over there. The press team for that is over there. And then you hear somebody else, they say Emma Stone. Oh, woo, okay, they're over there. Whoever's here with the Emma Stone team, they're over there. It's just this fascinating thing. And then everybody goes running because for months leading into it, this is what the studios and the publicists have been working for. And
the
just,
individuals.
and yeah, them too, God knows, doing all their stuff. But yeah, it just absolutely, it's wild. And we went for years.
Yeah.
We went for a long time. You get there at stupid o'clock in the morning, usually like 4:30 in the morning. And you just watch this world be built. As I say, you've got these cameramen and all these people, you've global press, and you're kind of watching everybody going, all right, we're all here. Good morning. Let's see what happens. And then it finishes. And because it finishes at 5:40 a.m., you go home. And so sometimes when we would get back, there was this kind of surreal, like, did we even go somewhere this morning? Because it's so damn early that you're just like, were we there?
We're not by nature early risers.
Did we do that? Well, now I'm slave to a small human, so I wake up whenever she wakes up. But yeah, it's wild. This is so funny. Robin says, Leonard, your 8th grade English teacher was my godmother. She was always so proud of the fact that you were her student. That's great.
Well, that's lovely to hear.
I love that. Would that be the dump on the hump?
That's always nice.
Or was that earlier?
No, 8th grade would have been Thomas Jefferson Junior High School.
So not yet at dump on the hump.
No.
Which I love. That my dad's the school that he went to, the nickname was Castle on the Hill, and they all called it the dump on the hump, which when you learn that as a kid, you just don't forget because it's hilarious and perfect.
Yes. Aki Kaurismäki's Fallen Leaves just showed up on Mubi yesterday, and if you have the possibility of seeing it, do so. It'll only take you 81 minutes to watch because he believes in short movies, and he's a master writer director. It's just a wonderful film, a wonderful film.
Yeah. Did you get to go to the Governor's Awards this year? No, not this year. They've changed a lot up, sort of in how they're doing things. So they're inviting fewer members of the press, which apparently you are still a member of the press.
Apparently.
Who knew? Yeah. No, Lynn is saying I'm not a morning person at all, but I wake up early to watch the Academy Award nominations and I go back to sleep. Well, as I say, it is in our crazy little world here, it is a very big deal. And, so for a little while, everybody just sort of loses their minds. And for the publicists, they're waiting to hear what their next step is, whether it's no, we didn't get it, or here's who got it. The other thing that I loved about going was they have these sealed packets with all of the information inside, with the nominations and everything, and some fun facts. And they put them out on the table, and nobody's allowed to touch them until after the nominations are announced.
Yeah.
And everybody obeys. Nobody plays games.
The Oscar team, usually from the Margaret Herrick Library, come up with all sorts of what we would call trivia.
Yeah.
This is his
sixth
nomination. His first nomination since 1978.
Yep. Stuff like that.
That kind of thing.
But so one of the things that I would do is, as the second the nominations are done, you run up and grab a packet. And a bunch of the people that my dad has known forever, like our Entertainment Tonight friends, would say, would you just grab some so I'd end up going up there, grabbing 8 of them and handing them out. They say the whole process is kind of wonderful and weird. And I love that. Yes. Jerry's asking if you've read Cliff Nesteroff's new book.
Yes, I did. It's very good, as I've come to expect from Cliff. It's called Outrageous, and it's about the fact that there have always been.
You can't multitask.
Okay, no, I can't.
Don't do it.
There have always been people who have rocked the boat in comedy. There have always been people who are disruptors, as the current term would go. And it's nothing new. Cancel culture is not really new. It's just a new term for, something that's been around,
Yeah.
something that's happened before. And he goes into detail. And
Do you want me to open that one too?
yeah. Huh.
What year do you figure this was last opened? I don't know that it's going to come
Okay.
out, Daddy.
Last year we showed some collector cards. Last week we showed some collector cards. Last week.
2 weeks.
2 weeks ago.
You got it.
Here's a really neat one. 1938. Leo, the MGM Lion, is promoting the MGM Shorts program, which included the Pete Smith specialties, Robert Benchley comedies, the Fitzpatrick travel talks, and others yet to come in the 40s, and the twice weekly News of the Day from Hearst Metrotone, later called MGM News of the Day. So Leo is very proud of that. That's the kind of card that turns me on because it's such an oddity. These are from a deck of cards called Movie Land Keno. Keno is kind of like bingo. Whoops. Let me turn them face up. Trio of Stars. This would date it to about 2930 because that's when Johnny Mac Brown came. Johnny Mac Brown had been a football star in his native Alabama, and good-looking guy, and that's what brought him to Hollywood. And he wound up working right away with Greta Garbo and Joan Crawford.
So I want to show this again. 1938. Sure, Leo's shorts win again. It's a habit. Just very funny. Just very funny. I want to say, Arthur, you said you saw the sequence of both of you attending the Kennedy Center Honor for Denzel Washington. We have not. I've never been to a Kennedy Center Honor. Have you? No, never been to one of them.
Those are always held at the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C.
Which we have never been to. And we did not interview Denzel. My dad interviewed Denzel when he received the Maltin Modern Master Award in Santa Barbara, what must now be 3 or 4 years ago, something like that. That's the only time that he's interviewed him.
Or 5.
I don't know anymore. Some years. Do you think the Academy should expand the documentary and international feature categories to 10 nominees, since those categories usually have more worthy candidates? The thing is, they normally do these short lists, and I think that can sort of, if you're going to get a jump from something, it's that. You're going to get a jump from that. Just being shortlisted is such a big deal for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I don't know that adding them to the category would help. I don't know if adding them to the category would help or not. Yeah.
So
but it's a fair question.
Here are 3 leading men who all made the transition from silent films to talkies. Unharmed, unscathed. In fact, Richard Dix was in one of the, maybe the second Best Picture winner, Cimarron, an epic scale Western based on a novel by Edna Ferber. And here's football star Johnny Mac Brown, who, as I say, became a leading man at MGM right away. Here, you're working with Greta Garbo, Johnny. And here's George O'Brien, who starred in John Ford's The Iron Horse, and then in F.W. Murnau's brilliant Sunrise at the end of the silent era, and transitioned to being really a cowboy star in the 1930s. And this past year, a short subject was made about his daughter, Aura, who was 87 when they made this short, and who was a veteran of decades of playing the double bass violin in the New York Philharmonic. And it's called The Only Girl in the Orchestra. And it's a charming short about Aura O'Brien.
Ora O'Brien.
Ora O'Brien,
Ora O'Brien has gone to
and
glory.
who was now retired. But and they have a wonderful quote from Leonard Bernstein in a letter that he wrote, you know, affirming his
Mhm.
fondness for her and uh, his his awe that she had seemingly memorized everything.
Ben has a really solid question here.
Okay.
If your last name is Dix, why would you name a kid Dick? Because you hate them. It's the only logical answer. Dix. Yeah, you hate your kid. That's the most logical. Sean's asking, what's your "It's So Bad It's Good" movie? I will say I love Nicolas Cage till the day I die, and many of the films that he has made are terrible, but I love them so much. The one I bring up most frequently is Con Air, one of the worst movies ever, and I love it with my entire heart. Um, for you, it's probably just one of the Three Stooges. It's
I
one of
can't.
those.
I can't defend those films.
I know you can't.
No, I can't defend.
No,
those
you can't
films.
defend those films.
All right. This is part of a collector card series. This is number 81 of how many I don't know. Done in the early 50s when radio was still viable and TV was just starting to take over. And Walter Tetley, who played Junior on The Great Gildersleeve, went on to play the role of the vocal role of Sherman as a Mr. Peabody in Sherman,
Love
as
it.
part of the Bullwinkle show. His voice never grew old. He still had the sound of a 12-year-old boy,
Isn't that funny?
and that was his claim to fame. The NBC collector cards are a lot of fun. They're hand colored, not real color photographed. But you got every Fred Allen and all the leading lights of radio are in them, and that's a fun series. I'm showing these because I opened up a box that has been sitting unopened in the 9 years or 9.5 years since we moved here. And there was in the 1980s and early 90s, I guess, a craze for collector cards.
A resurgence o' cards.
Resurgence, exactly. And here I've got a Batman set from, it has a year.
Does it?
Yeah, somewhere there's a copyright year.
1989.
Yeah. That's the year of the first Tim Burton Batman movie. An I Love Lucy set.
Lynn, I have a couple of pins that say "Put the bunny back in the box," and I wear them all the time. And people fall in love with them, so I always give them to them because
James Bond series from, was this the Roger Moore period? I don't know.
I don't know. It's not a year on this one.
And this is from Upper Deck, which
This
did.
is gun symbol is 1962. Cards are 1993.
Okay. And this is from Upper Deck, who took over from Topps as the preeminent brand name in collector cards. They did a Looney Tunes series, but I can't open them because that would spoil their value. Did you say value? They have no value. I looked at these things on eBay. They're very commonplace.
Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. I know it's upsetting. Take a deep breath. It's going to
really
be okay.
Nice Lon Chaney card.
Yeah.
Almost a holographic Lon Chaney card.
And you get to have it and love it, and that's okay.
Yeah. I've never bought anything
in hopes of it being valuable.
Yeah. I don't buy for investment.
No, which is a good thing.
Yeah, in this case, a very good thing.
No, you know how, look, when I was younger, that was when they started doing Furbies and Tamagotchis and Beanie Babies. And I said, oh, this is going to be so fancy. You're going to get this Beanie Baby. It's going to put you through college. Don't buy things because you think they'll be valuable. It doesn't work. Nick is asking, did you ever meet puppeteer Burr Tillstrom?
No, I never did. I watched him, of course. Kukla, Fran, and Ollie.
Patrick is asking, as you might recall, the Canon Group made and or distributed 800 plus films in 27 years before merging with MGM in 1994. What do you consider Canon's best movie and their worst? He's saying that his personal favorite is 1992's Rescue Me, and least favorite is 1991's No Place to Hide.
I have not seen enough Canon films to have an opinion, have an informed opinion.
Kevin is asking an excellent question. I'm in the middle of Randy Scrivet's March of the Wooden Soldiers about the making of Laurel and Hardy's Babes in Toyland and loving it. What would we Laurel and Hardy buffs do without Randy? Would be very sad.
Yes.
Be very, very
Randy
sad.
keeps turning up stuff, and he has been true blue to Laurel and Hardy.
Yeah.
Low these many years, and this new book is a must for any Laurel and Hardy, a diehard Laurel and Hardy fan or buff or aficionado.
Yeah. Victoria's saying, with regard to the Oscars, there are so many really good movies this year. Do you think a comedy, which there are some great ones this year, stand a chance to win Best Picture?
No.
Well, I mean, I don't know about this year, but in general, I think if a movie, I mean, Coda is not, I don't know that people would have expected Coda to do as well as it did.
No, that's true. That's an indie, but it's not a comedy.
No, but no, it's not. It's
not a comedy. And I wouldn't call The Holdovers a comedy.
No, it's not.
It has humor. It has humor in it.
Something can be funny, and that doesn't make it a comedy. You know, there's some great lines in it, and some.
I wouldn't call Barbie a comedy either.
No.
Although if push came to shove, you had to put it in some pigeonhole. I suppose comedy would be the one.
Yeah.
But
I think that movies are it's hard whenever you have to put anything into a box, categorizing anything, that can be really tricky.
Yeah.
But I think it's especially hard when it comes to awards. Victoria's saying, I really mean American Fiction.
American Fiction I like a lot.
American Fiction, again, I think they were not smart with how they've put it out and how they've.
Yeah.
It's foolish because I think they're losing.
Yeah.
They're losing.
Harrison,
things.
I did not like Saltburn. I saw it. Alice and I saw it at Telluride.
Yeah.
And we're very annoyed that we were watching this long, unpleasant movie, and then I realized that it was being projected in 1:3 ratio. It was shot in the old-fashioned ratio on film, Kodak film, and those are the only two good things. I like Rosamund Pike and Richard E. Grant as the parents in that film, but I didn't care for the film. No, I smart money's on Oppenheimer for Best Picture.
Yeah,
and I think a lot of people associated with it will be honored as well.
I think it's nice. I think it's nice that there is a bit of spreading it around. Like, I think everybody enjoys it when it's not just one movie sweeping. I think it's fun when it's this film got this, and this film got this, and this film got this. One of the big conversations after Critics' Choice Awards was that you had the best lead actor winner was Paul Giamatti, and best supporting actress was Dave Vine. So it's like, you had those two people. So Oppenheimer didn't take those. It's just interesting.
Yeah.
And I prefer it. I think it's nice because there are a number of good movies. Why not spread it around? Why not let it be the director gets this and so gets this?
Yep.
And, I love that.
Yep. Poor Things. Poor Things is another of my favorite films.
Yeah.
This year.
And she's obviously, Emma Stone's been winning, but the film itself has not won as much.
And to my surprise, Maestro has gotten virtually nothing.
Nothing. I don't know. Again, it's interesting. Yeah. So Colin's saying that was annoying about the Emmys, seeing everything go mostly to 3 shows. Well, here as a family, we were talking about this afterwards, because what is so interesting is that when something is hot, so when Marvelous Miss Maisel was initially happening, people lost their minds for it. And it is a great show. It's a great show. And even though, some people feel like it went on too many seasons, which is fair. Even this last season, I think it's so good. It's still so good. Even the parts that aren't great, it's still so good. It was not going to win this year. It just wasn't.
No.
Succession.
Because people discovered and fell in love with the bear.
And Succession. Succession
Yeah.
has won a number of awards. And I think that that's part of it. So Succession is ending, which means this is the last round of awards they can give it. So some people may feel like, well, we want to make sure that Succession gets its awards now because we loved it so much. In the same way that The Bear and Jeremy Allen White seems, he's been winning everything. It's just so interesting how at different times, it's so interesting to me that at different times, it just depends on what else is playing. Because at a different moment, if, let's say The Bear happened the same time as Maisel, would Maisel have taken
Yeah.
it, awards wise, not in terms of what people like and dislike. So you had something where you had Maisel won everything. It did not matter what it was nominated for, it won. Succession, if it was up for, it was going to win, no question. Right now it's The Bear. If The Bear's nominated, it's going to win. And so on and so forth. And so that's something that, as I say, what none of us can predict is when people are going to go, okay, now we feel like this show has gotten its awards.
Ted Lasso had its.
Exactly. Yeah, Ted Lasso. They won everything.
That was a pandemic hit.
Very much. I love that show. But that is another one.
You loved it especially because we were all down in the dumps.
Oh, yeah.
Stuck in the house.
It brought us joy.
And it brought us unalloyed, pure joy.
And for me, I was missing the UK. We spend a lot of time there and it's my home away from home. And so the humor and the accents and everything else made me feel like we were there a little bit.
Yeah.
But that show too. And anything it was nominated for, it was going to win. So if you were up against Ted Lasso, doesn't matter how good it is, you were going to win. Ted Lasso was going to win. So that, I say, it's always interesting to see sort of what the year brings.
Yeah.
Is your show going to be the hot show? Is your film going to be the hot film? I would think that if you asked Greta Gerwig if she thought that Barbie was going to go this far, she would have no idea. How could you? How could you know? Whereas something like Oppenheimer is a bit more obvious.
Yeah.
With the cast it's got, with the director it's got.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone is surprised.
No.
That Oppenheimer would do well. But again, it's just timing. It's just timing. The fact that Oppenheimer and Barbie came out at the same time, creating Barbenheimer. How in the world could any of us have seen that?
And it inspired people to go back to the movie theaters
and
to see both films.
And do double show. I mean, it's great. That's the thing. It's great that that's what happened. But also, would you ever in your life think that that would be your double feature?
Yeah.
Would you ever think that your double feature was going to be Oppenheimer and Barbie? But this is what you can't plan. This is what you can't plan.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's wild. It really is. Oh my. Well, friends, as always, thank you so much for joining us. We're so happy to be with you. We will be here next week.
Yes, we will.
We'll be here next week.
And I am again hosting Fathom Events monthly classic film shows. And they...
Don't multitask. Don't do it.
That's right.
Don't do it. He's so smart and so good at so many things. Not multitask. Just moving these cards off the computer, he stops speaking because he can't do both.
It's true.
It's all right.
Sad but true.
We love you for who you are.
Sad but true. I do get to introduce Gone with the Wind.
Very exciting.
And did I do Wizard of Oz too? I can't remember.
Anymore.
It's mostly contemporary classics.
Yeah.
Like the original Mean Girls.
Yeah.
Is one of the films this year. But I love hearing from people who have seen me on the big screen.
It's fun. It's really
I've
fun.
never been on the big screen before like that.
Not quite to that degree.
Yeah.
Man, oh man. Again, everybody be well. We'll see you soon.
And be kind.